Sight, hearing, taste, touch, and smell, these are the 5 organs that humans use to perceive the world around them. But there are some magical people in this world. Some of them can see things with their ears, and some are born without pain, and some people have super acute hearing and can hear sounds that others can't. Today we will talk about human sensory superpowers. In Tokyo, Japan, a Japanese samurai named Isao Mashi started an incredible performance. What he did was stand at a distance of 9.14 meters and cut a baseball at a speed of 160 kilometers per hour into 2 halves. In this case, the human reaction time is only 0.2 seconds, faster than a baseball player. Top baseball players have a reaction time of about 0.4 seconds to hit a fastball, and the pitcher's stance can predict when the ball will be thrown. But Isao Mashi's task was obviously more difficult. Once from a distance of 21 meters, he smashed the pea-sized airsoft pellets that were shot at him, and it was completely impossible to see what happened with the naked eye. Yes, I had to play it back at a slow speed of 220 times, only to find that Isao Mashi completed the movements of drawing and swinging the sword in an instant. And the airsoft pellets sliced were 1,000 times smaller than a baseball, which shows that the speed of human reaction is actually beyond our imagination. In 1968, in California, USA, a little boy named Daniel Kish, born with eye cancer in both eyes. His right eye was removed when he was 7 months old, and his left eye was also removed at 13 months. Because of this, the boy started to develop echolocation ability. When it comes to echolocation, you may think of bats at the first time. Bats will make sharp calls, and some sound waves will be reflected when they reach objects. Bats then use their sensitive ears to collect echoes from the surroundings to locate and identify objects. And Daniel Kish also has this ability. These sounds will be reflected by the object and returned to his ears, helping him judge the distance, location, and size of the object. Daniel said that he actually didn't know where his position was. He just knew that although he had no vision, he could feel the surrounding environment. In his mind, he can construct a virtual image of his surroundings, drawing a map in his mind. Daniel once participated in an experiment. The requirement of the experiment was to go to a new place, use his ability to observe the surrounding environment, and then draw the map in his mind with a pen on paper. Obviously, the picture he drew was very accurate. Danny has an uncanny ability to see the world with his ears. So how did he develop such unusual and powerful sensory abilities? Biologists call it sensory substitution, which means that his visual cortex is appropriated, and visual information is replaced by auditory. Scientists speculate that it's because perhaps humans have always had this ability, and it can even be traced back to when humans were not predators but prey. At that time, human beings had to hide in the dark in order to survive. Perhaps it was the harsh environment that made human beings have such abilities unintentionally. So maybe we have it too, just saying find the switch to turn it on. Doing housework may be a small thing for ordinary people, but for a man named Stephen Pete in the United States, doing housework is not just a series of tasks, for a small mistake may kill him. Stephen has had this rare genetic disease since he was born. He has a condition called congenital insensitivity to pain, so he can't feel any at all. Some people may feel that they don't feel any pain physically. Isn't that good? But the truth is exactly the opposite. Because pain is actually a kind of self-protection mechanism, helping us to stay away from some dangers. At the same time, pain is also the initial sign of some physical diseases, so people who do not feel pain often die young. A doctor once said that it is remarkable that Pete can live to the age of 40. Most people may not think of pain as a sense, unlike touch, taste, sight, smell, and hearing, but strictly speaking it may be the most important of all senses, because it can save lives at critical moments. What is the body's pain mechanism? It is transmitted through a specific nerve. When our body is accidentally injured, these nerves will be activated. The root cause of pain is that the peripheral nerves will transmit pain signals into the body, brain. At this time we will feel a little pain. It's just that in patients with congenital analgesia, their nerves do not transmit pain signals to the brain at this last step. Studies have shown that the main reason is related to the signal conduction of peripheral nerves. It encodes NaV1.7, a protein called a sodium channel, which is like the switch of an electrical appliance. If this protein does not work, you will not feel pain. Since Pete can't feel pain, how does he feel when his body is hurt? As he himself said, although he can't feel pain, but he can feel the touch of human heat like anyone else, and what he can feel is like the other side of pain, such as pulses, similar to nerve discharges. If our pain perception can be weakened, we can even achieve no pain sensation. What about our other senses? To what extent is it enhanced? In New South London in 1985, a music teacher named Adam Clifford was in class when suddenly a 5-year-old blind boy broke into the door. This completely blind boy wanted to come to the piano. He came to the piano, playing a song Don't Cry for Me Argentina, and it incorporates a lot of scales, climbing notes and chords into this piece. The music teacher immediately realized that this boy is a genius. His name is Derek and he has autism. When he was 5 years old, he could record songs with his mind, thousands of songs, so now he has become a world-renowned professional pianist. And his musical talent is based on one foundation. That is, his hearing is extremely keen. He can hear the nuances between notes that most people can't hear, and he can distinguish them at the same time within half a minute. How is this possible? A professor at the University of London once tried to figure out what kind of mechanism in Derek's brain gave him such an amazing talent, but ultimately failed. He said they'd keep trying to develop a test that would assess Derek's hearing, but it couldn't work out. The main reason is that Drake's hearing is more complicated. Although the upper limit of his hearing ability is constantly breaking through, this keen hearing also has shortcomings. And there is a price to pay, something that most people find complicated. Like a long piece of music, Derek can easily remember, but simple things, such as what to eat for lunch today, he can't remember. If he just met a new friend, he may not be able to remember the name of this person. But after 10 or 20 years, he can remember which piece of music his friend likes. This is a very contradictory aspect of him. What on earth had given Derek his extraordinary hearing? Or was it just God's way of compensating for his blindness? At present, scientists do not have a unified view. Some people think that the main problem may be some changes in his brain in the early stages of formation. They just say that the current scientists do not know what is going on with these changes. In 2004, at the University of Maryland in the United States, scientists published a paper titled The Motion Illusion of Man and Machine, which is a research report on how visual illusions expose fundamental defects in the human brain. We also have this kind of experience in real life. That is, our eyes will be deceived by what we see. That is to say, what you see with your own eyes is not necessarily true. In 2017, in London, England, a group of scientists came together to conduct an interesting experiment to investigate whether children have sensory abilities beyond our understanding. Generally speaking, the visual system needs light to operate. But when they studied these children, they gave them a book they had never seen before and asked them to wear blindfolds, so that the children could see the contents of the book. They also monitored the brain waves of the test subjects, and finally found that these test subjects could read normally, as if the blindfold did not exist at all. So the question is, how did they do it? The current mainstream view is that besides insensitivity, human beings may have another sense, another way of receiving information. This is a bit like what we often say, women's sixth sense is always very strong and accurate in the face of their boyfriend's cheating. It's hard to tell what this sense is, but it seems to exist. Some scientists give explanations from the perspective of animals. They believe that animals also have 6 or 7 senses. For example, bees can see ultraviolet radiation, and birds can perceive changes in magnetism. Before an earthquake, some animals will behave abnormally and become restless. So since animals have other senses, why can't humans have them? Since humans may have more than 5 senses, it is theoretically possible to receive information in other strange ways. For this reason, scholars also wrote an article pointing out an incredible phenomenon. The title is called Extraretinal Vision. Opsins, a protein embedded in human skin, help the body adjust its 24-hour circadian rhythm. So not only does opsin detect light, it can also detect other things like color, whether it's relying on our eyes to see the world, hearing voices that others can't, or inadvertently using senses we don't understand. There are indications that humans have sensory abilities we didn't know existed before. The potential of human beings is undoubtedly huge, and it takes time for us to explore and develop slowly. So did you enjoy watching the video? Do you know any superpowers of anyone close to you? We would love to hear it. Let us know in the comments. Don't forget to hit the like button below the video and click subscribe to stay on the top of our amazing stories from Top Amazing Studio.